Good afternoon. It's Friday, September 1st. And man, did we give you some killer picks this morning that are really working out well. Before we get to that, just real quick on the macro, the first thing, the theme of the day was bad news is good news. Unemployment numbers came in worse than expected, and that's good for stocks. Well, you see, SPY and QQ are actually flat now, but RK, the risk assets, especially, which we pointed out this morning, RK and small caps up 1.3%. IWM is RK's up slightly. Yin, man, what is that? China has been blowing up. I totally missed the China trade because I just don't trade China. I stay away from it. Maybe I shouldn't. Okay, but any case, let's go to our morning show. Our top two picks today were LULU and SMCI. Now, Lulu has been amazing. Unfortunately, we didn't play it, but hopefully some of you did. We can't be everywhere. Unfortunately, our money's tied up, or we can't be on every stock, but we should have played it. Like we played CrowdStrike yesterday. We gave you two targets this morning in pre-market when the stock was 390. 390, 9 o'clock show. It was 390. Okay. At 390, we gave you targets of 394 and 400. And look at that. And we even mentioned this is a good one to do options on. It is the bigger caps, especially the higher dollar value. You can make a lot of money on those options. And unfortunately, we didn't play it. Hopefully you did. Right here, we're not technical traders. We're not waiting for breakouts. We're anticipating breakouts based on fundamentals, catalysts, sentiment. And we did have that this morning. We had an earnings beat. We had fundamentals. Today was the earnings beat. That's a catalyst for today. Get an immediate price reaction today. And we did some math on the earnings beat and we calculated 394. And then from a chart perspective, we said we can also reach 400. Why? Because also we had a lot of analysts coming in at 450. So I'm like, okay, we might break our 395 here, which I'd calculated, and then make our way over to the top of these candles here, which are 400 to 410 really. So that worked out if you played it. We didn't. I should have, but that's okay. If you guys benefit, I'm happy. So other one we gave you, second pick of the day was SMCI. No particular catalyst today, but this has been basically since their earnings. I've been looking at this as an opportunity because the fundamentals are really cheap. Then you had the sentiment of the NVDA earnings, which is a tailwind for this. And now we're looking at the technicals trying to break out above this 50-day. So for a couple of days now, I'm like waiting for this to break. It's touched it 1, 2, 3, 4 days in a row. It's flirting with the 50-day moving average. And at some point, I'm sorry, it's just too cheap. The forward PE is like less than 20 on this thing. At some point, it's going to break above this 50 DMA and maybe in one big green candle, make it back to 298, maybe higher. We'll see. But 298 at the top, these two resistance levels, pretty obvious to see those. And that's what I'm looking for. Any day, as long as the market doesn't crash, I think we head back up to 298. But keep an eye on NVIDIA, because if NVIDIA kind of crashes, then SMSI could be stopped in its tracks. NVIDIA down 1.3%. You know, there's some bear theses out there. We put it in our app at storytrading.com/app. You can go check that out. Let me just show you real quick how that works. So if you're in the Story Trading app, and there it is right there, NVIDIA cooking the books, but you can add NVIDIA to your watch list over there. Over here, a little delayed load time we got to work on. But if you had NVIDIA on your watch list here, you could just tap on it, and then you'll see all the nuggets of people posted, or you can get access to the newsfeed over there. Okay, so that's SMCI, top two picks. Other picks we gave you, RRGB, depending on your entry. This one I should have been faster on in the morning. We did get into this, but I was just not aggressive enough. I was sitting on the bid, hoping to get filled at the bid. I was being a cheapie. I wanted shares at 1040, 1050, 1060. I kept raising my bid. I didn't get filled. Eventually, I gave up and I got in at the ask. I gave in on this was because I have a little longer term outlook on this. Like this Lulu was really like a day trade, a re-rating trade. Doesn't mean it's not good for the long term. Certainly is good for the long term, but I was expecting a big re-rating today. Whereas with RRGB, I was thinking that this is a multiple day move to make it to the next moving averages based on the catalyst. We talked about the sale leaseback this morning, the high short position. So I'm looking at these moving averages, the daily and the weekly, and I'm thinking this could do 12 to 13. You have candle resistance at 12. You have moving average resistance at about 13, 1275. Let's say 12 to 1275. You also have a resistance here at 1130. So basically 1130 through 1275 is my target. Could take a few days. So anyway, I gave up on trying to get it at the bid. I got it at the ask at a bad price. We're down on it right now, but that's okay. Actually, I think we averaged down a little bit, but we're still down. Okay. RRGB. So hopefully that'll work out in the next few days. EOSE, this has been really tricky. Reminds me of what ACHR did. ACHR, after that huge news, let's see if we pull it up, see if we can make a comparison. ACHR also similarly, after huge news, it was this candle right here, I believe. When was that big news? Was it this candle? It wasn't this candle because it was down all day. It must have been this candle here. This was the huge news. You can see the high of the day was 695, and then pre-market the night before it was like 750, and just crashed all day long, closed red, and then what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like 6 days later, you end up with new highs at 747. Reminds me of that a little bit. What's going on with EOSE? Now, I don't know EOSE nearly as well. I don't know it at all. It's new to me. ACHR, I knew well. We've been tracking it for a long time. Every newsfeed, every PR that came out. So this one, we don't know well. EOSE, $420 million loan from the government for this $500 million project. So a little bit riskier since we don't know it as well. And so it depends on your entry, man. You know, we had like an upward bias on this. So we've been trying to buy dips and sell rips. And so our latest entry is in the green, but overall for the day, I'm not sure. We have to go back and check that. We also played it last night and had a few successful round trips. So I'm not sure where we are with this. So this ended up being not as successful, I would say, as the other picks of the day. But I do think there's a possibility you have this kind of big, almost gap fill to kind of where it was before yesterday. I do think there's a possibility we can retest that 550 maybe in the coming days. Huge short position, 25%. And Guggenheim came out with an upgrade, and there was another. Was it B Riley? No, it was. What was it? Guggenheim, and the other one was man, I know who it is. It's not coming to my mind. Okay, there were two analysts that came out and gave nice big price targets on it. So put it all together, I still think this has like potential to go up. So we're still in it. We got like some at 370, 380, sold half of it for, and we're just playing around with that, right? So we'll see. Not huge conviction because I don't know it well. All right, GNSS is moving, but very light. 100,000 shares, actually very significant for this stock, actually. So it's up 5 cents. So this CEO was on CNBC yesterday. I hope everything's working. I have comments here. All right, good. I have to remember to look at that, make sure my audio is working. All right, we'll touch on Overstock in a second. Raztaz, we'll talk about that. That's funny. All right, we'll see. All right, who do we never know? But all right, absolutely like ever don't. Okay, all right. So we'll get to Overstock and this comment from Raztaz. That's going to be interesting. We'll talk about that. Okay, so in any case, GNSS CEO was on CNBC, and this is a huge deal because it's about the Hawaii fire, which is a huge sentiment driver, I believe. So I think you're going to. I said this morning that I don't think we're going to be heading back below 340. I guess it did for a few seconds, went to 332, but actually we're holding this, and I think we're going to make room to hold this a little bit longer and to see what happens with the recent state they won. Will they win Florida? Let's hang out and see what's going on there. GNSS, interesting pick by Chris Tuttle from Tuttle Trades. Every Wednesday, we meet with him at 12 p.m. for our VIPs. All right, Overstock, a few things. Overstock, we were looking at a possibility of a PR this morning. PR didn't come out this morning. So the other possibilities are anytime between now and mid-September. Once mid-September comes and goes, September 15th, I don't think you can expect a PR anymore for August, all right? So I think there's a possibility we get a Tuesday through September 15th. If we do not get a PR by then you got to wait for the earnings, which is going to be, I think, late October, like last day of October into the first week of November, something like that. Now, we did an awesome show Wednesday with Sean. His last name, I forgot. I'm sorry, Sean. That Zoom is available for VIPs. If you go to StoryTrading archive, where we went through the channel checks, we looked at app rankings, we looked at order analysis data, we looked at job openings. And I have to say, this is also in our app. I just posted today. Every day this week, they're posting new jobs. They have 27 job openings now. So everything's coming together. Let's see. Raztaz, a few comments here. Wouldn't count on Overstock ever touching 40 again. Well, you know what? You should. That's true. You should never count on anything happening. Everything's a calculated risk, and you could always be wrong. So you got to manage your risk, manage your size. and that's a true comment. This one, I don't understand this because revenue probably hasn't increased that much as the market thought. Well, this one I don't understand because the market isn't thinking that revenues increased. If you actually look at this stock chart, and we're 27 here now. We were like 21 or so before the rumor started. But if you look at any other stock that was like 21 and now it's 27, to me, this is just the market bounce. And there's absolutely there's absolutely no pricing in this chart. From my perspective, the market is not yet thinking that revenues increase. That's not a general consensus. Market is not pricing in Bed Bath and Beyond at all. It temporarily did when it went to 39. It gave it all back, and the market is saying we don't believe revenues increasing. That's what the market is saying. Okay, we think otherwise. We've made our calculated bet based on the research we've done, based on the order analysis from Sean. Let's see. I've seen Sean's Twitter post. All I have to say is that there's no proof that the order numbers increase 1-to-1. Okay, well, you can that there is data. In fact, I'm going to go back. There is proof that we can access regarding that because let me put that up here. Because Sean has been placing orders for quite a while, not just August. So he has order numbers from before August, which he's told me he's done this, but in our Zoom, we actually talked about just this point, okay? Rastaz, this was the exact point we talked about. We did contact customer service, and customer service seemed to indicate it does move up +1 for each order. However, I personally don't trust customer service as Indian call centers. Yeah, I don't think they're fully reliable. So can the order numbers increase by some random number? That could be a concern, okay? However, he has order numbers from before August. So he can go back and look at those order numbers and compare it to the order numbers that were reported by the company and see if that correlation holds, right? He said has done that. I've asked him to double check that work. I believe based on that work, that's where it's coming up with a 20% discount. There's 20% less orders reported by the company than what is seeing the order number differential, and that's being attributed to cancellations, right? So we are dotting our I's, crossing our T's. We're aware of all these possible pitfalls Raz has, and nothing's 100% guaranteed. But the other thing I would say is when you have app rankings in the top 10, top 8, in my experience, I've always seen that correlate with a significant increase in revenue, especially when you're up there for an entire month. I have to believe just based on that alone, that kind of tips me towards that this order number analysis is correct. So anyway, Rastaz, if you're interested, you can take a look at our Zoom. We did go into all these topics, and we did try to debunk all of these things, everything you've mentioned. And still, I like our prediction. By the way, did I tell you there's more jobs posted today? Yes, there are more jobs posted today, all week long. So very, very interesting. I don't think they'd be doing that if they didn't see a big surge in orders coming through right now. So that's the story with Overstock. But I do want to reiterate your point, Rastaz. You should not count. He is all right. You cannot count on anything in the stock market. Everything is a calculated risk. Now let's move on. That's Overstock. So, but however, technically things are looking good today. I will tell you, my colleague Rex over at Rockspear Trading, we weren't able to do the show today, but from his community, I learned that he did go long today at 26, not at 26, in the 26s. He went long again and is looking for 33s. That's his next stop. My very esteemed colleague, technical trader, is looking for 33s next on Overstock. And if 33s breaks, then is looking for 40 plus. So we'll see. That'll take a catalyst, right? You might be able to see 33s without news if the market keeps going up. But with a catalyst, I think you can get up to the 40 plus if we are right about the August revenue numbers. Okay, Raztaz is saying possible app rankings. Yes, it's possible. We'll have to see. All right. So that's why you got to continue monitoring it. But as of now, so far in the month of August, so far, so good. And the story can always change. That's why you got to keep on monitoring it and be flexible to changing your position. That at this point is speculation that it's going to go down. I'm dealing with what is in front of me right now. Okay. So let's move on. I think that was actually, I do want to mention APRN. APRN has been kind of in a breakout mode here. We got a higher high and a higher low. Yesterday, the low was 832. Today, 835. So we have a cup and handle forming right here on APRN. So we're continuing plus maybe much more on APRN, but probably going to need news. You never know, though. The traders can jump on this because the low float, it's a highly shorted low float stock, but we like it as well because of the fundamentals and the possibility it's flipping to profitability. Man, MP, we should have stuck with MP from our morning show yesterday morning. This one's kept going. Oh, whoa, we made a mistake on that. Now over the 20 DMA. This is a great stock, I believe, to have for the long term. Rare earths, with everything that's going on with China and EVs and everything. MP, solid little company. All right, I think. I don't know that they're little, but it's a good thing to have, I believe. All right, so let's move on. SMSI is pulling back, by the way. So at this point, we have some support at 160. The 20 DMA is 150 and rising, so keep an eye on that. We may need to consolidate and touch some of these supports before we head back higher. And LLAP, man, we're waiting. We are waiting for the right news. We're waiting for the right news to dramatically increase our position, and then hopefully look for a 3, 4, 5 bagger from there. YTRA, we're waiting for the right news. The latest is from our colleague Matt Kolb. The latest is he believes the news will come on Tuesday. We'll see. All right. There's some data, some hints out there about the timing. New information that came out today. So now we're speculating that the news will come out on Tuesday of the IPO in India. All right. So that's about that. Let me see if there's any comments on Rumble. I don't see any comments on Rumble. And Mike K responding to Raz says absolutes like ever don't exist in this market. That's true as well. All right. So with that, we are going to look at ANF. We did keep some ANF with that. Now we have a $69 price target on ANF. We put that one in our long-term account since that morning show. Look at He. Wow, I'm not in He. This has been crazy. This has been like, wow. If you had the balls to play that up, down, this was tough. Someone made a lot of money, not us. Okay, and that's it. So we will see you guys on Tuesday morning at 9 a.m. The markets close on Monday, and hopefully this time we'll have some big news on Overstock on Tuesday, but we might not get it till the first week of November. Take care, guys. Thank you, everyone, for joining. And head on over to StoryTrading.com app. It's free to install and download our app. We have lots of good things going on there, in addition to all of our live shows and the archives, recordings, very valuable information in there as well. Take care, everyone.